First, we will discuss the first agenda, which is the project aim. In this agenda, we will discuss two types, which is the problem solving and the scope. For the problem solving, there will be a variety of difficulties in creating, deploying, and managing the database. For example, how many database performance can be maximized, especially with relation to indexing techniques and query execution for Zienly Spa. The second is what are the best practices for Zienly Spa on handling concurrency in a database system so that the data is consistent and conflict avoidance are guaranteed. And the third is in the context of access control, encryption and security against unauthorized access, how can the data security within a database management system can be improved. The fourth is in Zienly Spa, what techniques such as constraint and validation rules are employed to preserve data integrity in a database. And lastly is, in order to reduce data loss and system downtime, what are the best practices for Zienly Spa on setting up backup and recovery operation in a database system. Next is the scope. A database management system scope for Zienly Spa includes all the different facts that are involved in managing and using database inside of a system or organization. This is a throughout explanation based on Zienly Spa. The first is a database management system facilitates the definition of the data structure, enabling the creation of table, attributes, constraint, and table relationships. The second is data kept in the database can be inserted, updated, deleted, and queried with its support. This entails retrieving data and making necessary modification to it using SQL. The third is access control and data security are enforced using the database management system method. It is to prevent unwanted access and security breaches. The fourth is a database management system makes sure that numerous people or programs can view and edit data at the same time without interfering with one and another. The lastly is the database management system use constraints and validation rules to preserve the consistency, accuracy, and dependability of the data.
Hi, here I will explain about the entities, attribute, and relationship of Zienly Spa. For the first entity is user. The attributes are user ID, username, and user password. User ID as primary key, and the relationship of the entity is one-to-many. For the second entity is booking. The attribute are booking ID, user ID, booking date, and booking time. Booking ID as primary key, and the foreign key is user ID. The relationship is many to one. For the third entity is customer. The attributes are customer ID, booking ID, customer name, customer email, phone number, and customer address. The primary key is customer ID, and the foreign key is booking ID. The relationship is one-to-many. For the third entities is order. The attributes are order number, customer ID, order date, and order status. Order number as primary key and customer ID as foreign key. The relationship is one-to-many. The next entity is admin. The attribute are admin ID, order number, admin name, admin email, and phone number. Admin ID as primary key and order number as foreign key. The relationship for the entity is many to one. And next is product. The attribute are product code, product name, product price, and product quantity. Product code as primary key, and for this entity do not have foreign key. The relationship for the entity is many to many. Next entity is service. The attributes are service code, service price, service quantity. Service code as primary key, and for this entity also do not have foreign key, and the relationship is many to many. For the next entity is invoice. The attribute are invoice number, invoice date, and invoice time. The primary key is invoice number, and the relationship for the entity is many to many. Next entity of Zienly is payment. The attribute are payment ID, order number, payment amount, payment method, and payment status. The primary key of the entity is payment ID and order number as the foreign key. The relationship is one-to-one. Next entity is supplier. The attribute are supplier ID, product code, supplier name, supplier email, phone number, and supplier address. Supplier ID as the primary key and product code as the foreign key. The relationship for the entity is many to many. Next is invoice line. The attribute of invoice line is invoice number, order number, and invoice line details. This entity has two primary key and two foreign key. Invoice number as the primary key and foreign key, and order number also as primary key and foreign key for this entity. The relationship is many to one. For the next entity of Zienly is product line. The attribute of product line is product code, order number, and product details. This part also has two primary key and also has two foreign key. The primary key and the foreign key is product code and order number, and the relationship for the entity is many to one. For the last entity is service line. In service line has three attributes, which is service code, order number, and service details. The primary key and the foreign key for this entity is service code and order number. The relationship is many to one. For this part is the entity relationship diagram. We can see based on the data we have listed in the entity attribute and especially the relationship section, we can transfer from the schedule to the draw IO. For this part, I will share about the business rule of Zienly. For the first is user and booking. One user can make many bookings and one booking can only be booked by a user. For the second is booking and customer. One booking can be made by one customer and one customer can make many bookings. For the next is customer and order. One customer can place many orders and one order is placed by only one customer. For the next business rule is admin and order. One order can be managed by one admin and one admin can manage many orders. And for the next part is order and product. One order can have many product and one product can be included in many orders. For the next is order and service. One order can have many services. One service can be included in many orders. And for the orders and invoice, one order can be placed in many invoice and one invoice can be associated with many orders. And for the order and payment, each order is paid for which one payment. Each payment can be linked to only one order. And for the last is product and supplier. Each product can be distributed by one supplier and each supplier can distribute many products.
Now, I will explain the database that our group created using them for Zienly. The created database contains 13 entities which are admin, booking, customer, invoice, invoice line, order, payment, product line, service, service line, and user. Each entity represents important component in order for the business to be operable. There are three entities created because of the many-to-many relationship, which are invoice line, product line, and service line. The first table structure that I will explain is user entity. The primary key for this table is user ID. The attributes for this table are username and user password. The type of data that are used in this table are varchar and text. The second table structure is booking entities. The primary key for this table is booking ID and the foreign key for this table is user ID. The attributes for this table are booking date and booking time. The type of data that are used in this table are varchar, date and time. The third table structure is customer entities. The primary key for this table is customer ID and the foreign key for this table is booking ID. The attributes for the table are customer name, customer email, phone number and customer address. The type of data that are used in this table are varchar and text. The fourth table structure is order entities. The primary key for this table is order number and foreign key for this table is customer ID. The attributes for this table are order date and order status. The type of data that are used in this table are varchar, date, and text. The fifth table structure is admin entities. The primary key for this table is admin ID, and the foreign key for this table is order number. The attributes for this table are admin name, admin email, and phone number. The type of data that are used in this table are varchar and text. The sixth table structure is invoice line entities. This table have two primary keys and two foreign keys, which are invoice number and order number. The attribute for this table is invoice line details. All of the data that are used in this table is varchar. The seventh table structure is invoice entities. The primary key for this table is invoice number. The attributes for this table are invoice date and invoice time. The type of data that are used in this table are varchar, date, and time. The eighth table structure is payment entities. The primary key for this table is payment number and the foreign key for this table is order number. The attributes for the table are payment amount, payment method, and payment status. The type of data that are used in this table are varchar, decimal, and text. The ninth table structure for Zienly is service line entity. This table has two primary keys and two foreign keys, which are service code and order number. The attribute for this table is service details. All of the data that are used in this table is varchar. The tenth table structure is service entity. The primary key for this table is service code. The attributes for this table are service name, service price, and service quantity. The type of data that are used in this table are varchar, text, decimal, and integer. The 11th table structure for Zienly is product line entity. This table has two primary keys and two foreign keys, which are product code and order number. The attribute for this table is product details. All of the data that are used in this table is varchar. The 12th table structure for Zienly is product entity. The primary key for this table is product code. The attributes for this table are product name, product price, and product quantity. The type of data that are used in this table are varchar, text, decimal, and integer. The 13th and the last table structure for Zienly is supplier. The primary key for this table is supplier ID, and the foreign key for this table is product number. The attributes for this table are supplier name, supplier email, phone number, and supplier address. The type of data that are used in this table are varchar and text.
Assalamualaikum. I would like to introduce myself as Hakimi, and now I would like to talk about our design interface for the Zienly service. So we have at first we have a login, which is the primary login for the system itself. The system will allow the users, either staff or customers who prefer to use Zienly service or purchase product, but first must log in into the system using their username and password. To continue to the home, which is the second page, users must enter the information precisely or the system maintains on the same page. The system will detect any incorrect information or error and will not allow you to open the page. Next, it will directly go into the home, which is the center of the system. It allows the users to proceed to another page, such as information, booking, service, and products. Those are available at Zienly and administration part for the staff purpose, which allows them for order, invoice, payment, and supplier page. Next, we design the customer information, which the system includes all the customer information for the system to use if they agree to sign up for an account. Customer ID is given by the customer itself to ensure the unique difference between another customer. So the entity involved in this is customer ID, name, email, phone number, address. Now later we have a booking. Booking section is like a place where people can place a book for the check for the availability, and it will set up automatically as the system to keep the unique finding. Next, we have this service page. Which this page is preview the selection from the customers after they are satisfied with their own choice to buy the favorite service. The service codes are allocated based on the business to run if the customer book early with their own service name. The price and the quantity are the entities that accumulated at the end of understandability agreement from customer side. Next, we have products. On the product page, it's like the service page. We have a selection from current customers to choose. So allocated as the product codes as the primary key to run the choice for differentiation from the customer. The price and quantity are included as in the entities. Next, we have admin information, which the system includes the staff information if the users agrees to sign up for the account. This is only belong to the staff to log in for the works. So the primary key is the admin ID, which is given by the system itself to ensure the unique difference between other staff. So another entity that involved is name, email, and phone number from the staff. Later we have the order. The order page is dedicated for the staff if they need to check for the availability of the product or service. Those are included in the sale. So the order number is differently given to the order to keep the unique key, and also is based on date and time to insert manually, but the customer ID is allocated for the each order number. So we have now the invoice. The invoice page is dedicated for the customers and staff as they need to check for the products or service those are sold. Invoice number is given automatically as the system to keep the unique key for the invoice. There are dates and time which need to insert manually. Next, we have a payment page. This payment page is dedicated for the customers and staff as they need to check for the products or service those are sold, either it undergoes payment process or yet. Payment ID is given automatically after the order is made as the system to keep the unique key for the invoice. Lastly, we have the supplier page. The system includes supplier information if the users need to replenish the insufficient supplies for the operating business. Supplier ID is given by the system itself to ensure the unique difference between another supplier. So another information which included in this entity is name, email, phone number, product code, and product quantity by the supplier to fulfill by the staff to make a purchase. That's all from me. Thank you.